I was born a daughter of a preacher and a mother who fought her personal demons. I was born into responsibility. I was so responsible that I was born on my due date and a little past dinner because I didn't want to inconvenience anybody. This is me at my high school graduation. See, I went to a private Christian high school, and you think that smile on my face is because I'm very excited about moving on to bigger and better things, but what I was really excited about was to escape my parents' expectations, because they wanted me to marry a preacher and have kids and, be a mom, and 2 out of 3 of those was great. So I really wanted to go to college and have a career, but I didn't know what I didn't know. Fast forward 22 years, this is me and my baby girl, my mini-me, my only daughter, at my 40th birthday party. It's a luau, we're having a great time, and she comes running up to me and she says, "Mom, one day I'm gonna be like you." And she ran away, ran out to the party, and my heart just dropped. Because up until this point, I had chosen a career in restaurants. I didn't have any college education, and God bless them, servers work harder than anybody, and I was a server and a bartender, and I don't regret it. It served me well. It taught me a lot of things. It provided for my family, but I always knew that I was meant for more. I just didn't know how I was going to get there. But what I did know was the path to getting there was education. So, as a 40-year-old, I applied and got accepted into Georgia Perimeter College, and I remember the thing that really got to me was I was terrified of math, because when I was in high school in the 80s, they told us girls weren't good at math. Do y'all remember those days? So when I got into college, the first thing my advisor said was, you should take math during the summer when that's the only class you have to take, and that way maybe you'll get through it. They were wrong. I was good at math. That set off a whole series of positive events to come. While I was at Georgia Perimeter College, I got inducted into Who's Who of America, National Honor Society. I got a 4.0 GPA. My poor children had to deal with a mother that got straight A's at the kitchen table, so should you. And I eventually moved to North Carolina to finish my degree at what I call God School, North Carolina State University. And while I was at North Carolina State, I had this professor. And he would come to me, I had been going there about a year and a half, and he said, "Hey, we think you should apply to study abroad." And I said, "Mr. Larson, I'm 44, I'm not 18. He said, "Shelli, I wear glasses, I'm not blind." So every day when I came into class, he would say, "Have you applied yet?" And I'd say, "I'm too old." And he'd say, "I'm not blind." And we did this over and over and over. And finally, I turned in the application, and I said, "Jesus, stop." I did it. I applied. Stop asking me. He said, "Cool." And then on March 18th, 2009, I got this letter. And it said, "Dear Michelle, you have been accepted into the study abroad program." So during the summer of 2009, this 44-year-old single mom of 4 teenagers, non-traditional student, studied abroad at Oxford University. I was terrified. I remember thinking, what have I done? What have I done? This is the hardest university you could possibly go to. And I was that girl that didn't go to college until I was 40, because I wasn't good at math. And now I'm in the hardest university that you can possibly go to. I was scared to death. So I chose to do what I do with everything, and I just thought, all right, I'm gonna take it one day at a time. I'm gonna give it my best, right? It's all you can do in life. You can do your best. And so I'm just going to take it one day at a time. First of all, it was life-changing because I loved it. Second of all, I slayed that curriculum. This 44-year-old, I had 4 teenagers, stay-at-home, work at a restaurant mom, got a 4.0 at Oxford University. You know what I came home with? There ain't nothing I can do kind of attitude. Nothing. So I came back, and while I was in England, I had kind of discovered this social media thing that was happening over there, but not so much over here. It was happening here, but not as much. And I threw myself into a group there called Triangle Social Media Club, and I started learning about social media from the ground up in 2009. And word spread around North Carolina State that Shelli had discovered this thing that the professors hadn't even heard of it yet. And so they said, oh, that should be your niche. We don't really know what you're doing, but that should be your niche. And I was like, okay. And then a professor came in one day and he said, hey, there's this friend of mine who has a friend of mine who owns a company, and she's looking for somebody to do that social media thing that you do, and it's a paid internship. And all I heard was paid. So I said, sure, I'll do that. And so I walked into this company, and she thought I was there to rent a limo. And when I said, oh, I'm here to be your intern, she said, what? And I sat down and started telling her everything I was going to do for her, and she said, stop. If you could do anything you wanted to do, what would you do? Now understand, up until this point, I had started applying for jobs, and agencies were going to start me at $30,000 a year. And as a single mom of 4 kids, and I knew something that you didn't know, but you're going to pay me $30,000 a year, and you're going to make $150,000 a year or more off of it. It just didn't sit well with me. But what I really wanted was a stable job, and God forbid health benefits, because I had never had those for my kids. And so I was kind of in a quandary, right? And then I met this lady, and she said, if you could do anything you wanted to do, what would you do? And I said, well, I'd start my own social media firm. She said, okay, I'll hire you. And I said, what? See, I didn't know what I didn't know, but I was very aware that there was a lot out there. I didn't know how to run a company. I didn't even know how to start a company. I didn't even know you go to Secretary of State. I didn't know how to write contracts. I didn't know how to set fees. I only knew how to do what I knew how to do. And so she said, it's okay, you'll learn. And so she went to her WPO meeting, and she told them, I found a girl that does this social media thing. and she came back and said, here's 10 names, they're ready to hire you. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even have a company name, right? But it's okay. Because one of those women was Monica Smiley. And Monica Smiley, from day one, said, hey, I'll hire you. You can do this stuff for enterprising women, right? So, fast forward 7 years. I've been here 7 years in a row. I've done breakout sessions. I've done panels. And now I'm one of the first She'd Moment speakers. So thank you, Monica. And here's what I want to tell you, what I learned. You don't know what you don't know, and that's a fantastic thing, because if you knew what was coming, it would be too scary. You wouldn't do it. Or you would try to jump steps, and there's things you need to learn. If you had told me in my mid-30s, Shelli, you're going to go to school and get a degree and study abroad and start a company and get into public speaking, I would have said, you drink too much wine. You need to put that glass down. That is not going to happen. But see, I didn't know. So I want to share with you what I learned. What I learned was to face fear and walk through it. It's scary. I was scared to death to come up here today, but I did it, right? What I learned was to set ridiculous goals. Just ridiculous. What 44-year-old studies abroad? I did. I learned to set ridiculous goals, so I stay very, very, very motivated. I learned that I can do anything in the world that I want to do because I'm smart and I am passionate and I'm driven and I just refuse to give up. I can do anything I want to do, anything, and so can you. So here's what I want you to do. I want all of you to stand with me. I'm going to give you a gift. Stand with me. This is my mantra. I'm going to give it to you. I want you to say this to yourself every day. Are you ready? Repeat after me. I don't know what I don't know. And that's a beautiful thing. Thank you.